Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 25 years, 20 plus years of my life. We just left Lompoc. I'm gonna take you guys now to Victorville. In 2001, 2004, I was in Lompoc. In the summer, towards the end of the summer, beginning autumn, 2004, they closed Lompoc down. They opened up Victorville, California, USP. They shipped all of us out, brought in a bus. I was on the third bus out there. Now, opening up a penitentiary is a whole different animal. Because now, it's almost first come, first serve. But us being Asian and Islander, throughout the system, we didn't have TVs and tables. When we was in Lompoc, we had 2 tables, 40 dudes, and each table only got 4 seats. So you gotta come in, eat, move around. Come in, eat, move around. You don't have no time to sit there and conversate and socialize. That's why I still have, to this day, a bad habit of just sitting down and woofing my food up, because I've been conditioned like that for the last 20 years. So when we went to open up Victorville, we weren't gonna live like that. Not me. So we started fishing, and I was the third bus that left Lompoc. So when I got there, we claimed TVs, we claimed tables, we claimed tables in the kitchen, we claimed tables in the unit. But one thing anybody who's ever been locked up knows, you can't have anything, you can't hold anything if you don't have the will to defend it. So in the beginning, the first 2-3 months, there was conflict and drama because everybody's fighting for territories. Now we catch the bus from Lompoc under Victorville. I enjoyed the ride. It's almost like a field trip. That's the only time we really get to see the outside world. But when you're watching it from a bus, belly chain, black box, and shackled. I'm black box. So when they put me into the bus, I always get a window seat because they want to put me against the window, then another inmate besides me, you know. But not everybody in the USP gets a black box. You know, black box are reserved for, like for a better word, for individuals that they feel that are extra violent, extra influential, dangerous. You know, I built a reputation coming from the county jail from the moment I got locked up and throughout my whole history that I'm gonna do my time my way. So when we was in Lompoc, the politics in Lompoc with the Asian Islander wasn't up to par because they had the older generation that didn't check paperwork because a lot of their friends that come in were fucked up. Maybe they weren't rats, but they had some other stuff on their cases that wasn't kosher. But me being a youngster in Lompoc, I didn't have the authority or the status to enforce the way it's supposed to be. We try to look some stuff up, but you know, looking through the books and not having anybody out here getting on the computer, because back then you couldn't just get on a computer. Not now, not like now. But in Victorville, they brought in the computers. So all you had to do was type in people's name and you can see who was right and who wasn't. And a few homies that came with us that ended up being foul, they all got their head cracked. Because being in Lompoc, I've established rapport with all the other groups, with the Black Hand, the Serenos, with the Crips, with the Bloods, with the GDs, the Vice Lords, Kings, and everybody in between. And they knew my case. I kept my paperwork, boxes of it, from my discovery to my court transcript. When I meet somebody, before I befriend them, I offer them to look at my paperwork. And then I wait to see if they offer for me to see theirs. If they don't want to see mine, if they don't want to show me theirs, I don't fuck with them. Because I don't want to be friends with somebody that I'm going to have to later on have to stab, which through the course of this time, you're going to see that situation like that happen. I had a friend that I ended up having to hurt, but that's for later. Just a little tease for the episodes down the road. But in Victorville, we was checking everybody's paperwork, because I've built a rapport with all these different groups, and they respected me. The respect and the love was mutual, and they all checked their paperwork. The Crips, the Bloods, all the different gangs. If you came off the bus foul, you're getting chopped up. So for me to socialize and interact with all these different groups, I had to raise my standards up to match theirs. So when we got to Victorville, that's what we did. But coming into Victorville, like I said, when you open up at a penitentiary, everybody's fighting for sales, everybody's claiming sales, claiming tables, claiming TVs. You might think, what do you mean claiming sales? No. When you first open up, when you go into a cell, that's yours. No matter if I go to the shoe, because I spent a lot of time in the shoe, all the way from the time I fished into the penitentiary until about 2012, I did 6 months in the shoe, 6 months on the yard. For some reason, around November and December, I always get caught up. Either I bust somebody's head or get put under investigation for hustling and for other, this and that. It's just the way that I live my life, because I'm not gonna sit around and watch paint dry. I have to move around, and coming from the street the way I was in 98 before I got locked up, for any of those that know me, I was wild. Lack for a better word, I was off the chain. I was full of anger and animosity and hate, and I act out. So it never changed. The penitentiary doesn't give you a chance to rehabilitate yourself, because you're still in that environment that's just chaos. And if you slip up, if you talk about, hey, maybe I don't want to do this, maybe I'm going to change my life, you're opening yourself up to be a victim, and you're opening yourself up to get killed. There's so many stories about individuals in there that when they were getting short, they let off the gas because they didn't want to get into any confrontation, because they want to make it home. And those individuals end up getting hurt or end up catching a case, because we're in an environment full of predators, full of miserable motherfuckers. For a lack of better terminology or whatever, penitentiary in the USP level is full of condemned men. And a lot of them are miserable. And I hate to say the things that I'm about to say for some individuals. Some of them are not fit for society because they love and feed off the chaos. They're always around, and they're always waiting for somebody to let down their guard, for somebody to go soft. Because not everybody's looking for a fight. They're just looking for an easy victim. So if you open yourself up and project that you're not looking for any trouble, that's when trouble comes. So I've always carried myself like I'm with it. Whatever comes my way, I'm with it. I'm respectful. I'm courteous. I honor the agreements that I have. I keep my word. I don't lie to anybody. I've always tell people that, why do I gotta lie to you? Only cowards and piece of shit lie. I'm not a coward. I'm not a piece of shit. So who the fuck are you for me to lie to? And some people, they can't handle the truth. They don't like the truth because I'm blunt. Being blunt, being the way I am, I do it because it leaves no room for any misunderstanding. Because misunderstanding can get you killed. Misunderstanding can cause a race riot. Misunderstanding can cause a gang war. So you always speak your mind. You always be blunt. And if the other guy doesn't like it, hey, then we deal with it. But you can do this. You can be blunt and straight to the point, respectfully. You know, so when we come into Victorville, the homies in 3B, they got a TV room with the natives. Well, in California, you know, the only groups that had TVs before they opened up Victorville were blacks, whites, and Mexican. Well, they had this MA named Perico. He was on the east side. I was on the west side, or vice versa. I don't know. I'm on the east side and they were on the west side. I'm in 2A. So our unit is a rectangle. Our yard is a rectangle. It's 3 square yards. You know, it's a rectangle with 3 square yards and a unit goes around it. You got unit 1, 2, and 3. They both have A and B side on each. Then you got 4, 5, and 6 on the other side. I was living in 2A. The homies, Johnny, Matsunaga, and them, they all lived in 3B. Well, Perico on the other side, he sent word to the Sereno because we had a TV room. The white boys had a TV room and the Paisas had a TV room. But he's saying, man, this is California. This is south side of yard. Because the TV room is a choice property, you know? That's your own private. Like if it's a black TV room, it's a white TV room, Mexican TV room, whatever, you can't just walk in there. If you're not part of that group, you can't just walk in there and go sit down and watch TV. Somebody's gonna tell you to get your ass up. And it's a double-edged sword. Because if you walk in there and you sit your ass down and watch TV and somebody tells you to get your ass up and you get your ass up and leave, what the fuck was you doing in that TV room in the first place? So if you walk in that TV room and sit your ass down and somebody approaches you and tell you, hey, get your ass up, you're expected to bust that fool in the mouth. That's just our politics, homie. Our politics is you can't pull a knife out with anybody if you're not gonna use it. Because if you pull a knife out on somebody and you don't stab that dude, then your homie's gonna punish you. And if you're stabbing that somebody, you can't stop until that dude is dead or until the CO jumps on you. Because we feel like if it has to go there, then it has to go there for real. Because when people see that you're faking, it opens you and your car up to a lot of unnecessary drama. So the first week we was there, maybe the first 2 weeks we was there, the homie sent me word, say, hey man, meet us out in the yard. So we go out to the yard and here's all the Serenos. But Serenos and the white boys at the time, they have an alliance. The AB, the brand, and the black hand, they run together against the blacks and the norteños. So all the Serenos out there and all the white boys are out there. And then there's 10 of us out there. And we're politicking over the TV room particularly. But I've done time with all these individuals already. The whites, the Mexicans, the blacks. Everybody in Victorville, I know them because we all just came from Lompoc. And people got to understand that no matter how cool I am with you, if you're from another car, when we go to war, we go to war. That's just the way it is. It's nothing personal. It's just the environment we lived in. It's just the alliance that we've drawn. But don't get it fucked up. Being cool with somebody and being friends with somebody is two different things. I'm cool with a lot of individuals, but I'm only friends with a few. And if you're my friend, regardless if you're Mexican, regardless if you're black, regardless if you're white, if shit jump off, I'm gonna stand with you, and I've done it. Anybody that's ever been anywhere with me, they've seen it. I've been in riots, 17 white boys against motherfucking 250 Mexicans on the yard. You're probably like, huh? That's like exaggeration. Nah, nigga, I counted it. I've been in situations where me and a Mexican, we standing on something. You know, same thing. I got a lot of white friends. If you're my friend, then that's what it is. And in this particular incident, because we've known these individuals for a long time, nothing crazy happened. We were able to mediate and had an agreement. Okay, we're gonna give up the TV room, but we still want a television. And they gave us we got one of the TVs in the day room. So everybody won, and there wasn't any issue. But Rico on the other side, he wanted the first cell, which is a handicap cell, which is bigger than the other cells. And he went up to Kalima, like later on while we were there. I'm just skipping around, just telling you how the process of everything goes in there. He wanted the first room because it was a bigger cell. So he went to Kalima, who was the shot caller for the Paisa. But Kalima told him, hey man, you gotta go ask my people. Yeah, I'm the shot caller, but I don't dictate how my people do their time. So Perico took that as a disrespect. At this time, we was on the yard. We were in our own little funk with the COs. Because the homie Yano, we was drinking. We had went down to the indoor rec, and he had kicked in the door of the CO's office and stole the CO's sunglasses and whatnot. But that CO didn't want to approach him when we was all there. So he went and called backup. When we was on our way back to the unit, 4 COs came and tried to gaffle up Yano, but we stood between them. Like, nah, you ain't taking my homie to the shoe. So we all went out to yard 3. So 5 COs came to the gate, and we're on the other side of the gate. The gate's locked. And they're trying to get the tower to pop the gate so they can come in and get Yano. But while we were in there, you know, I'm doing 26 years. I don't give a fuck. So in my mind, if this gate pops open and these COs come in, we're gonna wreck. You know? So while we're standing there and the CO's waiting for the tower to open the gate, the deuces go off and they run over to 5A. And they're running over there. And they're running over there. Just, there was no stand down situation is contained. They're still running. They're running over there. So we go over there because it's yard 3. We're on the fence over here by the east side where we were in a little standoff with the CO. The west side is over here, 5A. So we cross the yard to come and try to see what's going on, see if we can see in the window. So, because every time the deuces go off, you got to put your head up and see what's happening. If it don't got anything to do with yours, me, if it don't got anything to do with me or my homies, I keep it pushing. But until then, I got to be able to verify that. So when we're walking over here to the east side, to the west side, to try to see what was going on, the lieutenant who knew me, he comes to the gate and said, hey man, I don't care what the fuck you guys got going on right here. Go in and rack in. I'm gonna pop that gate, go back to your unit, and go to your fucking cell. And we're like, shit, hell yeah, because we just ducked that fucking confrontation with the CO. Well, we go in, we lock down, but before we came out from lockdown, we found out that the riots between the Sureños and the Paisas jumped off over the cell because Perico wanted the cell, and the Paisas didn't want to give it up. So he sent all the Sureños to go and hit all the Paisa, and the whole unit blew up. These things happen over TVs, tables, the tables in the kitchen, in the chow hall. Opening up a penitentiary is another animal because nothing is established, and the only way you're gonna establish something is through blood. Period. Ain't no ifs and ands about it, because if you say, hey, this is my table, and somebody said, no, it's not, and you can't come to an agreement, then you gotta chop each other up, you know? So it's wears on your nerves, but you get through it because in your mind, you have to accept the environment that you're in. You're not in a mosque, you're not at a temple, you're not at Disneyland. You are at the USP, United States Penitentiary. It's reserved for those that can't make it in society, those that they seem dangerous and violent. When I came in, I claimed 2 tables in the kitchen for my homies. But as everybody fishing in, because it's not just a bus of Sureños or a bus of Crips or a bus of whites or whatever. The bus is just a bus. And you come off and everybody's just picking what they want to pick. But the politics in California, the Sureños and the Crip, no matter if they live in the unit, no matter if they're hanging out in the yard, no matter if they're eating in the chow hall, their designated area has got to be the furthest from each other. But when we came into the chow hall, everything was just spread around because motherfuckers was just claiming the tables that they got to, like, you know, like, oh, you seen it first, you touch it and it's yours type shit. So you had black dudes that were sitting on white dudes and black dudes and Mexican dudes, they were sitting on the same side or whatnot. But once more people started getting there, they started politicking the structure. And the GD came and hollered at me. He's like, hey man, can we holler at you about the table? You know, my first instinct is to be aggressive, but I was like, nah, ain't nothing to talk about. That's my table over there. I was like, nah, don't trip. We want you to, because in Victorville, you have 3 sections. There's 2 lines for the chow, but you know, you have a section on the right, a middle, and the left. So they all agreed to split it up where the Sureños, the Mexicans, the Paisas, and the white boys are on the left side when you're coming into your chow hall, and all the blacks, the Crips, the Bloods, and all the blacks are on the left, are on the right side. But they got the middle section where they want to put like non-affiliates, like the Muslims, the Christians, the people from out of state, because this is a California yard. So if you're from the East Coast or whatever, you know, they were trying to put these individuals as buffers between the Sureños and the Crips. So the GD come and holler at me and tell me, hey, man, if you agreed to move, because our table was on the black side once they split it up. But he's like, hey, because I only claimed 2 tables. I'm not so, because that's what I had in Lompoc. But on tables over there, we had 6 seats instead of 4 seats. So I already came up on 4 seats in this new penitentiary. So I was cool with the 2 tables. But the GD said, hey man, if you agreed to move into the middle, we'll give you that whole row, 4 tables. I said, bet. I don't give a fuck where I sit. I don't have no animosity towards the whites, the Mexicans, or the blacks. My beef are always personal, or always, pertaining to each individual circumstances. So for all those that's in Victorville now, all those that's been time in Victorville, all them tables that you sit in the Chow Hall, all 4 of them, I got that for the homies. Me and a few that first bust over there. But as we go through the next few episodes, I'm going to take you to the chaos of Victorville. And it's no different from Lompoc. It's no different from any other places I've been. But opening up a penitentiary is another different animal. Welcome to USP. Thanks for tuning in.